Hello! So we will be beginning work soon on your director's proposal for this course. I'm really proud of your work so far, and I think that this will be a theoretical and practically fun project for you to work on here at the end of this Shakespeare's Ladies course to sort of serve as your culmination. This whole course really was designed out of this idea. Imagine that someone approaches you from a theater company for which you want to work and says, "We'd love to do a female forward Shakespeare production this season. Could you put together a proposal for our committee to review?" That's it. That germ of an idea is where this whole course began. And so I'm hopeful that over the course of these past 8 weeks, you have developed the skills that you need to be able to answer this question. Okay? So you will answer this question by creating a proposal. Okay, now this, of course, this part would not be in a proposal, but it's for me for grading purposes. What I would like you to do is I would like you to find a theater for which you would like to work someday. Now, you can choose your local community theater, you can choose a college theater in your area, your high school theater if you're a high school teacher, or you can choose maybe you want to dream big and believe that the Folger's going to give you a call and have you work with them. That's totally fine. But what I need you to put together is a basic theater profile for me. This will be page 1 in your packet that you're going to submit. Okay. On this page, essentially, you're going to need to show me that you've researched the theater company for which you wish to direct. So you'll need to tell me the name, the location, artistic director, committee, point person, somebody that you can write your cover letter to, somebody that you are keeping in mind as your target audience. Because the number one thing to remember about a director's proposal is that it is a sales pitch, and you are selling yourself, your idea, and a lot of dreams and visions to people who may have the bottom line in mind. So it's really important that this is really polished and realistic. Okay. If your theater has a mission statement, I'd like you to include that as well, because I think that it's always a good idea if you can work their mission statement into your proposal. So include a mission statement and then maybe any other pertinent information, something else you think I should know. Maybe you already have a relationship with this company. Maybe you're already the artistic director. Maybe you are the decider. Maybe you know what the budget is already. You know that the budget's like $500 for non-musicals and $2,800 for a musical, though that's really low. Oh my goodness, I don't think you could do that. But anyways, maybe they have an in-house production team. All of this stuff you already know. Just put together a brief little page that's going to say the theater profile. Tell me about the theater. Okay, now let's dig into your proposal. So if any of you have proposed to direct for somewhere before, you know that everywhere has their own format and form that you're supposed to use. This is what I'm suggesting, okay? I hope that you get to do this in real life and then you just have to tweak and copy and paste things. But even if the company that you've chosen does have a form that you would use, go ahead and put it in this format so that I can grade it correctly. Okay, firstly, you're going to include a cover letter. I want this cover letter to be old-fashioned. Pull out your old books on formal letter writing. We have gotten away from this, and I think that it's really important to know how to write a good cover letter with letterhead and the little box that has the address at the top. And it really shouldn't say something like "to whom it may concern," right? You should have done some research to know specifically who are you writing to, or at the very least, to the committee. You're going to give a little bit of an idea in here of your personal background, your qualifications. Why do you want to work with this theater, and your contact information. That's pretty much it. Don't you can briefly propose the show here, but really save that for the future. I'd also like you to include, if you have a CV from a class you've done with me previously, we build a CV in the pedagogy class that's coming up this fall. By the way, if you haven't signed up for classes yet, I strongly recommend that you take pedagogy. But if you don't have a CV, a directing resume will work. Just something, if you don't have it put together, you need to get it put together anyway, so get it done, okay? Your proposed production team. So these are the following people I'd like you to address: set, lighting, costuming, for sure. Maybe you have choreographer, whether it's stage combat or dance choreographer, and a musician or music director. You may want to include those as well, depending on your concept. For your proposed production team, I mean, this is really just a brief bio of those people you would love to have on your team, okay? This is where we get into dream world, right? So you could say I don't care if you have somebody you actually know, or if you want to dream and imagine that William Ivy Long from Broadway is going to come work with you on your costumes for this piece. But you're going to put together a proposed production team. Even though, yes, I know that this happens more often than we wish, they cannot all be you. Choose some other people, okay? Have fun with that. You'll obviously want to include your title. You'll want to include a brief synopsis of the play. Brief synopsis. Overall concept. This is the meat of your proposal. Here are some things you might want to address. How would your production engage your audience? How is your chosen piece female forward in nature? That really was their cue to you. How is it female forward? What updates might you make to the script, or what would you highlight? Would you utilize traditional or non-traditional casting choices? Would your production be inspired from previous productions? Cast your vision. This is where you take the time. I mean, this should be concise, but probably at least a half a page or a full page of text telling me what are we going to do? Cast the vision for me. Okay. Speaking of casting the vision, you also need to include a design concept. I'd like you to have a couple of subheadings here. You can choose from these, you can add to these if you find you need to, but essentially set and lighting design. Include images from research. I'd like you to take some time with Google Images and really sort of as you've cast your vision, are you going to use lots of dark purples and blacks and blues for your production of Macbeth? Or are you with splashes of red, for instance, for Lady Macbeth at different times? Or are you going to do a very traditional Romeo and Juliet? Are you going to do a completely updated Romeo and Juliet, a la West Side Story? That's in a completely different era. These are the types of things you'll address by talking about the set and lighting, the costuming, design. I definitely want you to give me multiple images here. A couple of pages, like it doesn't have to be full pages, but like some little baby collages or something of your concept for the set and lighting and costuming. Maybe you want to perform in a found space. That's a really cool idea too. I'd love to see that. Are you going to do Julius Caesar on the courthouse steps? Or maybe you want to do it in the park. Give me an idea of where this is going to be. Also, if you want to include music, what role does music play in your production? Multiple Shakespeare pieces have songs included. If you've chosen a play that has a song, you need to address how are you going to bring this song to life? Will you bring in a music director to write original music or arrange music from typical traditional pieces that might have been sung like Greensleeves? The same thing with dance and stage combat. If you have fight in your play, you'll need to have a stage combat person. If you're going to have a dance, if you're doing Romeo and Juliet, you'll need both because you'll need to have the mask dance. Okay. So address those design concepts. Mostly I'm talking just a little bit. You know, you don't have to dig in all the way to this. You're not meeting with the designers to cast your vision. You're giving a brief overview to the folks that are going to give you permission to hire your designers. Okay? You'll also need to address some of the logistics. Time scale. How much time is this going to take? Realistically, over what course of time are you going to need to rehearse and produce this production? Is there a suggested budget? If you've done the research of the theater ahead of time, this might be really easy and you might know, oh, I have to stay within $500 of the budget, or you might have to cast it yourself. My suggestion, if you've done budgets before, is to actually, don't just say, oh, it's going to cost $500. That never works. I want you to lay out specifically how much will you allot to costuming, how much will you allot to set and lighting design. All of these things are really important. So think through the budget. Don't just skip through it. Also, look at your target audience and give some marketing suggestions. Who are you reaching with this? If you're doing Hamlet and focusing on Ophelia as part of the hashtag Me Too movement, if you're drawing that connection, who are you reaching out to? Who's your target audience? How are you going to get young millennials to the theater? And once you figure that out, let us all know because that's a big deal. But give some marketing suggestions. You might want to develop a logo or show us some images of how you would market this in the area, as well as addressing, maybe we'll do a social media blast or talk to our subscribers or talk to area restaurants and come up with dinner theater. But this is where, again, remember, this is a sales pitch. Okay, and lastly, at the very end, I'd like you to bring in just a couple of paragraphs. Why? Most importantly, why? Why here? Why now? Why is this theater the best place to perform this play now? And why are you the best person to do it? This should be in a written electronic packet in Microsoft Word, including the embedded images, okay? If you have a different way that you'd like to send it in, in the past I've had similar assignments done in presentation form, like Keynote or PowerPoint. That's cool too if you want to do it that way, but just let me know. At the moment, it needs to be Microsoft Word. Your packet overall needs to be aesthetically pleasing, but it does need to be thorough and concise. But that's pretty much it. It should be a really fun, creative project for you. Again, very different for the historiography project, very different for the critical or the character study analysis. This is where you get to play and put everything that you've learned thus far this semester to work. I can't wait to see your proposals, and I really hope I get to see one of your shows come to fruition someday. That is it for this assignment. We will have one more video about your reflective essay. I'd love to hear what your thoughts were about the things that you picked up on in this course and the things that you enjoyed. I really hope to see all of you in future classes. Feel free to sign up for pedagogy offered in the fall. It's definitely a really, really important class, especially if you are coming up on your departure from Regent into the real world and you want to polish up your self-marketing materials. It's a great time. Thank you so much. It's been my pleasure. I hope that you have learned some fun things in this class and will take a lot of new skills out with you into the world.